Thank you for joining us for All Things MSP Live. My name is Eric Anthony. I'll be your host tonight, and we really do appreciate you spending some time with us. Now, you may be asking, what is All Things MSP? We are a community, first and foremost, of MSPs and people around the MSP industry, vendors, subject matter experts, all that kind of stuff, and we're talking about the non-technical side of being an MSP. Now, most of our activity happens in our Facebook group. That's the platform that we've been on the longest. You can join us there at facebook.com/groups/all things MSP. There's about 6,000 members in the group, and somebody is there waiting to talk to you. And we also, if you don't do Facebook, we have a LinkedIn company page. So you can go to linkedin.com/company/all things MSP. Now, last but not least, we also have a YouTube channel. So you can head on over there. This is where you can probably get the best experience watching the live stream because it allows us to interact better through the comments there. But also, we publish a weekly podcast there as well, in addition to publishing it to all of your favorite podcast platforms. But we also post other pieces of content as well. So make sure you go there, you like, you subscribe, you do all the things to make sure you get notified so that you'll know when we post new podcasts, as well as we're doing a new live stream. Now, the live stream is typically every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We try not to miss it, but sometimes life happens. Okay, we got about 19 seconds left before we start the show. We'll see you there. The views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are those of its participants and do not reflect the views and opinions of any employer, MSP, sponsor, advertiser, or vendor. Hey there, All Things MSP crew. Welcome back. It's been a minute, hasn't it? Yeah, it has. And I apologize for that. It's just life has been good, but busy. I miss doing these. I really do like the live streams on Wednesday nights. Part of it was that my wife was actually available for most of the summer on Wednesday nights. So that was, it was much more, it was more fun spending time with her than it was spending time with you guys. Now, maybe one of these days we can actually get her on the show. She has been traveling with me to some of the events. And so, it'd probably be fun to have her on the show at some point as an anti-technologist. But anyway, I digress. Tonight, we are going to be talking about ending well in 2025 for a great 2026. This is something that's been on my mind lately, and I saw the date for today was October 1st, and we have exactly one quarter left from this year. And there's a lot that can be done in a quarter to finish the year well, so that you actually have accomplished the things that you set out to accomplish at the beginning of the year, so that you can start off 2026 really great and have the best year ever, maybe in 2026. But before we get to that, I do have a couple of things. Oh, I was starting in the wrong place. So first of all, obviously, we want to thank our sponsors, Easy DMARC, Compliance Scorecard, and GoZinta. We could not do this show without our sponsors, and we really do appreciate their support. And more about a couple of those sponsors a little bit later in the show. Now, one of the things I do want to talk about real quick in terms of news is ASCII has released their dates and their cities for 2026. And a lot of great cities on here. I know there's some cities on here that sometimes, the regular shows, the big shows don't get to. And so definitely something to look into if they're coming to a city near you. Lots of different choices here. Seattle, Washington is a new one. Glad to see that. Toronto, always love to see our friends in Canada. So hopefully I'll be able to get to some of these this year. Who knows? We'll see. But wanted to share that with you so that you had a little preview of what was coming there. All right. Next up, we have this week's podcast. This week's podcast was really interesting. We had Kristen, who is the CTO of Synchro MSP, on the show, and we're talking about efficiency, and we're talking about how different applications work together and how MSPs have in the past benefited from what we call the single pane of glass, right? Now that has kind of hopefully left the building a bit. And there's still this need, though, for everything that an MSP does to at least congregate into one place. Maybe it's not a uh, a single pane of glass, so to speak, but at least it's a platform where everything plays together. And that's the philosophy that Synchro MSP is using with their RMM, their PSA, and now their cloud management for Microsoft 365. And I just saw a press release today where they now have cloud backup for 365. So lots of interesting things going on there. Cooper, nice to see you as well. And let's see, what else do we have in the news? Oh, Amy Babinchak has a new course that she's doing. It is developing your AI offering. I think this is something that's essential for all MSPs. If you didn't catch the live stream I did probably towards the beginning of the year with Corey Kirkendall, we went through a lot of this stuff. But as you would expect, Amy's course much more in detail, probably hours of content here, and from somebody that I consider a trusted expert in this space. So go ahead and check that out. You can find it at thirdtier.net, by the way. I forgot to put the link to the website in there. Let me go ahead and just post that in the comments. Oh, if I could only type. Okay, I think that's it. Cool. So you've got that. Now, if you have some type of news, please reach out to me. Go ahead and submit that to news@allthingsmsp.com, and we will go ahead and feature it on a future show. I'm also considering about doing something kind of midweek-ish to talk about some of the things going on in the channel. Not necessarily a live, probably a recording, but maybe a live. The lives are actually easier to do because then I don't have to worry about post-production, right? So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, if you have some news, send it to me at news@allthingsmsp.com. Okay, and lastly, we are opening our 2026 sponsorship prospectus. If you're a vendor and you want to support the All Things MSP community, you can go to atmsp.link/ATMSP 2026. Now, the offer for right now is if you go ahead and, find a sponsorship that you like. We actually have a smaller sponsorship that I think is very relevant to keeping you in front of the All Things MSP audience. There's a newer, lower priced plan. It's called our starter plan for sponsors. And if you're interested in that, it's perfectly priced for that startup sponsor, especially. But you don't have to be a startup sponsor to participate in that. All right, so ending well in 2025 for a great 2026. Just a couple of notes that I've put together that I really think will help you get the most out of this final quarter of 2025. Starting with reflecting on your goals and reviewing your progress. I know it's difficult for a lot of people because we get caught up in the day to day, right? To know where we're at in terms of the goals that we set out for ourselves in the beginning of the year. So one of the things that I would do is pull out those written goals, or OKRs if you're doing it more formally. If you don't know what OKRs are, they are objectives and key results. It's basically just kind of a more formal way to put together your goals and your objectives, and breaking them down into key results that are going to get you to the objective. But one of the reasons I put this in here as well is to point out that if you didn't have goals that you started the year with, how do you know where you're going? And so you have to have goals to know where you're going. You can't just leave it up to chance. If you know that you want to double the size of your business in 2025, you need to have set that as a goal, and you need to set the different parameters to get to that goal over time. Okay. You need to compare the metrics that you set out in those OKRs or those goals versus your targets. What are you doing, now? How have you progressed towards those goals with numbers? Okay. When we're talking about revenue, new clients, churn or retention, operational KPIs, that kind of thing. And you need to ask yourself, am I 70 to 80% there? Because if you're not 70 to 80% there, and we are 75% done with the year, you got a little bit of a problem. You got some catching up to do. And so the next step here is to create a gap plan to get back on track. So let's talk about what that kind of looks like. So what can you do before we get to the end of the year? Okay. My tips would be, first of all, prioritize 1 to 2 quick wins. Okay. So that you can close these gaps quickly. Because if you can close a couple of these gaps quickly, that'll give you more time to focus on the things that might take a little bit more time. Do one more QBR, figure out how to upsell something in your security stack. I don't know what it is, but prioritize 1 to 2 of these quick wins, I'll call it, in order to close those gaps. Reallocate time or budget from low value tasks. Basically, find out what are the things that are taking time that you shouldn't be doing because they're low priority. Maybe they're something that you could delegate to somebody else. And so rearrange your time, budget your time better so that you're focused more on these high volume or high value tasks. Automate or delegate to free up bandwidth. That kind of goes along with budgeting the low value tasks. Create a short sprint plan for Q4 and key activities by, basically break it down to every single week. And I have a bonus tip at the end of tonight's session to kind of give you a tool to do that. And it's something that I have used. I have reorganized my productivity around it, and it really has helped me in terms of getting the longer term goals that I have set out done. Okay. Step 3. And I think this is really important too. You need to celebrate the wins that you've gotten so far. Your team, especially if you have one. If you don't have one, obviously it's not quite as important, although I think there's a certain mental advantage to you celebrating wins with you, right? If you've done some things well, I think you need to affirm yourself and let yourself know that that you are doing well. Share client success stories. That's one way to do this. New contracts, reduce churn. Reduce churn, obviously, very important in this business. Successful projects that you've completed, maybe interesting projects that you've completed. Recognize team contributions. If you have a team, you need to identify those individuals or those departments who have contributed the most to the success for the year. And then one of the things that I used to do, and this is something you can do towards the end of the quarter, is you can publicly thank vendors and partners who added value. So this is, those vendors that you use that contributed to the success of your business this year. Definitely something to be helpful there. Now, step 4 is, what do I need to do before the end of the year to prepare for 2026? And by the way, if I didn't mention it, this is going to be a short show tonight. Just because I wanted to talk about this topic. I wanted to get it out there and then have you guys reach back out and let me know how I can help with this. But anyway, uh, before we get to 2026, I think you need to refresh your 2026 vision. You need to come up with that vision, and you need to set at least 2 to 3 strategic priorities, probably no more than 3 to 4. Okay. Because if you have too many of these strategic priorities, then nothing's a priority, right? So definitely, you want to know what those are before you start the end of the year. And there's all kinds of systems for setting goals. You can use OKRs. You can use what are called SMART goals. Um, that it's an acronym, stands for, oh, I don't remember what it stands for right now. Hey, I can't remember everything because I'm not as smart as the SMART goals, obviously. Um, and build a clean pipeline. Make sure that your sales process is in good shape. If one of your strategic priorities is sales and actually growing the business by acquiring new customers, you have to make sure that the data in your CRM is good, that the data for your contacts and your prospects in there is good, and that you have a plan to reach out to those people to move them along in the pipeline. You've got to figure out what they're going to need and a plan to reach out to them to get that implemented for their business. Ensure financial readiness, budget, taxes, vendor contracts. You got to make sure that all your finances are in place. I know this is kind of a struggle for a lot of people, especially solopreneurs, people who are running businesses all by themselves. But it is something that's essential and you need to keep track of it. And I would, for a MSP in here as well, I forgot to put it in here, but I would review your pricing with your clients as well. You want to make sure that your pricing is on track and that your profit margins due to that pricing is on track. And somebody asked me about this today. They asked me if I recommend having some kind of buffer in there for, having to do vendor changes or vendor price increases. And absolutely, that answer is yes. I think most people would probably recommend between 10 and 20%. I think the number that I usually throw out there is 15%, which makes perfect sense. The nice thing about looking at your pricing and looking at your profit margins every year is you're not going to get stuck with all of a sudden a vendor is gone and you have to replace them with something and it's a little bit more expensive. This is where that buffer can really help, is to make sure that you have the flexibility without having to go back to the customer and ask for more money. You as the MSP have the flexibility built into your margins to swap out that tool or take that price increase. And that buffer is enough to get you to that next year where then you can adjust prices with the client. And most clients understand the price is going to go up almost every year. And that's just the way it is. It's because tools change. It's because other costs increase. And if you get yourself into that regular rhythm of evaluating your prices and your costs at the end of each year so that you can prepare for the beginning of the next year, I think that's definitely something that's going to benefit you and your clients. Really, I think it's a benefit to your clients as well. Schedule some type of team planning or kickoff meetings for January. There is a reason why most enterprise-sized customers and even some smaller, right? The mid-enterprise space, we'll call it, why they have what they call sales kickoffs. It's because you need to bring the team together. Okay. Now I know that Justin, who is the host of the All Things MSP podcast, he just did this with his team this month, or last month, because it's a new day this month. He just did it with his team. It doesn't have to be at the beginning of the year, but for sales teams especially, it seems to work better, because if your fiscal year is the calendar year, you really want to start off the year well. So that means January. So definitely, think about that. Now, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Would love to answer some questions for you tonight. Happy to do so. And I do have a bonus tip, and this is really the biggest thing here is if you struggle with procrastination, especially. Um, this book will absolutely help you. I think because it helped me, right? I'm just speaking from my own experience. It's the 12-week year. It's a great book. It teaches you to think in a 90-day execution cycle rather than an entire year. So you don't look at the entire year at once. You're only looking at a quarter. And what's interesting about that is there are 12 to 13 weeks, typically 13 weeks in a quarter. And so if you break a quarter down like you would break a year, you have 12 weeks to accomplish things, and then 1 week to plan the next quarter. And in my experience, this has really helped me with focusing in on a smaller time frame, but a big enough time frame to accomplish major projects. Does that make sense? Um, and it really takes that focus down to a week level, and every week you can get stuff done, right? You can always within a week find some time to accomplish something that's going to get you to that next goal. um it really it helps you with that. Well, we'll just get to it next year, like I said, that procrastination piece. um which is for people who struggle with procrastination. Other people won't understand this, but people who struggle with procrastination know that, it is hard to worry about something that you don't have to get done till the end of the year. It's very easy to say, I want to grow the business. I want to double the size of the business this year. Well, I don't have to get that done until the end of the year, right? No. In order to make sure that that you get to that number, say you're doing 500,000, you want to get to 1 million, right? That means you have to do what, 125,000 every quarter in order to get that extra 500,000, to get to that level, to get to that goal. So how do you break down that 125 per quarter? Well, you break it down by 12. It means you need to add basically, let's see, 125 divided by is going to basically be about, what is that? 12,000 a quarter, 12,000. It's not 12,000 a week. Okay. This is where I should not be doing this at night. That's just the plain simple truth of it. 125,000 divided by 12 weeks is $10,000 a week. So you need to add $10,000 a week to your ARR. So I was close to right. I just didn't think $12,000 a week is a lot of new ARR. So, but that's a big jump too, going from 500,000 to 1 million in 1 year, right? So that's a big jump. It's going to take big numbers, but that also tells you, well, I can't do $10,000 of new ARR every week. Well, then maybe you need to reset your goal. Maybe you can do $5,000 a week. And so if you can do $5,000 a week, reset your goal to $750,000, right? That's the way it works. And it helps you get very practical about what you need to get done every single week so that at the end of the year, you either have achieved or at least gotten very, very close to that goal that you set out for yourself. It creates a sense of urgency. I think that's pretty obvious. Definitely read the 12-week year. And I'll tell you what, I'll even put this out there. If you are within the continental United States, because that's where I can ship to. Okay. Sorry if you're somewhere else, I can't help that. But if you are inside of the continental United States, go ahead and let's see, how do we want to do this? Oh, make sure you've subscribed to the YouTube channel and then join the Facebook group and let me know that you've done those two things. And I will go ahead and send you or send the first, let's do it for the first 3 people. I will send them a copy of the 12-week year so that they can benefit from this book as well. Okay. If you have any questions, make sure you go ahead and pop those into the chat. Bonus number 2 for this evening is read The High Performance MSP by Craig Willard. I do have my copy here. I am working my way through this. I am very close. I am on part 3, so I'm getting close to the end. And we will have Craig on, by the way, sometime soon to talk about his book. It's really more about the mindset of the owner than anything else. At this point, I haven't gotten to part 3. And part 3, the whole title of it is putting it all together. So it's finally putting the stuff together that he said in the first 2 parts of the book in order to put it all together to make sure your business is running well. Now, the things that I have learned out of this book so far is to reduce negative self-talk and increase the affirmative. Give me just a second. I made it for a while without having to do that. Do you ever have one of those things where you're going to do a talk or a presentation like this and water goes down the wrong way right before you're supposed to get on stage or start the webinar? Yeah, I did that tonight. He shows you multiple ways, practical ways to get from I can't to I can. He talks about practicing internal confidence, which is the confidence that you have internally that you can control. And then he talks about owning your own focus and, gives you very practical guides. He doesn't just talk about these things. He gives you practical exercises for actually doing these things. So it's very interesting, very cool. I do want to take a little bit of a break right here and thank our sponsors. So I will be back in just a minute. Level up your email domain security and deliverability. Reduce business email compromise and reel in that pesky email phishing. Make DMARC a new revenue stream for your MSP. Becoming a managed service provider partner with Easy DMARC is a great opportunity for your business to boost sales and decrease risk. Your customers need DMARC. Your job is to let them know that their email domain might be at risk. Find out more today at atmsp.link/EasyDMARC. That's atmsp.link/EasyDMARC. Operating an MSP sucks. GoZinta is here to make it suck less. With their consulting services, they are your trusted advisors through every step of your MSP's journey, from startup to exit. And their software is crafted with care to ensure that they're solving problems for you and not creating new headaches. Find out more at atmsp.link/GoZinta. That's atmsp.link/GoZinta. All right, guys. So thanks again to our sponsors. We really do appreciate them. So now I'm just gonna, I don't have another slide here. We are done with the slides for this evening. So let me go ahead and just get that out of the way. And probably change. There we go. Now, first of all, I think that there are lots of ways that you can end 2025 well. And I really hope that you do. If you have questions about anything that we talked about tonight, I encourage you to, reach out. You can always contact me through either the Facebook group or LinkedIn. You can reach out to me at eric@allthingsmsp.com. And, there's just lots of things that we can help you with in terms of, this getting to the end of 2025 well. And hopefully you will end 2025 well and start 2026 even better. One of the things I would say for 2026 is make sure that you have a plan, because most people don't plan to fail. They fail to plan. Everybody's heard that before. And there's lots of things that you can do to systematically set yourself up for success. And the other thing that I know, because, I've been an MSP, I run the All Things MSP business, personal productivity can be difficult. I think definitely the 12-week year has been something that really helped me. I've created kind of my own system over the years that works for me. So I've tried a lot of different things. And so if you have any questions about your own personal productivity journey, I would be happy to have a discussion with you. So just please reach out. Again, like I'm all over LinkedIn. It's easy to find me. And if you just want to shoot me an email, it's eric@allthingsmsp.com, ERIC@allthingsmsp.com. And I think that's about all we've got for the evening. I really do appreciate you guys showing up for this short but long overdue edition of All Things MSP Live. I will not be here for the next 2 weeks because we have DattoCon is next week. And then I have, what do I have? Team Logic in Arlington, Texas after that. If you're going to be at one of those, come by the booth. Happy to see you. And then I think we're going to be at IT Nation again, but TBD. So thanks again for joining us tonight. We will see you in the next one. Have a great one. Hey, thanks for watching All Things MSP Live. You can reach me, Eric Anthony, at eric@allthingsmsp.com. If you're a guest, if you're a vendor, if you want to sponsor the show, let me know.